The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Might Be Brews, the podcast where we explore the people, places, and brews of the craft beer world. Episode 2 of the new season. I feel like it's more than episode 2 because I've been on so many episodes of different shows lately, but it's only episode 2 for us.
Yeah.
We gotta say hello to the man behind the board. Taylor, what's going on?
What up?
We are joined by Brett. You might remember Brett from a couple episodes ago. He brought the KBS. How's it going, Brett?
Hey, happy Friday to all my beer ladies and guys.
Good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Looking forward to hanging out and having some beers. And if you're wondering why you're hearing my voice and not the voice you normally hear, it's because John is dead.
John is gone.
It's like the Beatles. It was John is dead, right? We should. If you listen to the last episode backwards, we tell you how John died. We're just kidding. John is in lovely Reno, Nevada, but he's joining us via phone. John, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
What'd
Am
you
I
say?
on the air?
What'd you say?
Am I on the air?
Yes.
You're live. Do it live.
You guys rock.
Yeah, dude. Look,
I'm so excited to be on the show. First time, long time.
first time, long time.
There you go. That's what we've been looking for. So, John, what are you doing out in Reno? You got some work stuff going on?
Yeah. I'm in Reno for work. Reno's kind of a neat town. Have any of you guys ever been here?
Never been to Reno.
No.
Never been
It's
to
like
Las
a
Vegas.
little, it's like a little mini Las Vegas, but there's like gorgeous mountains around here. I mean, I guess there are in Vegas too, but there's like snow-covered mountains out my window, so it's actually like a really pretty scenic view.
Is it like cold there, or is it just the snow's just up in the mountains?
A little bit. Like I walked home from the bar last night and the wind was blowing. It was chilly. I wish I had a coat. I just had a little jacket on, but I don't know what the temperature is. Maybe like in the 40s.
Wow.
Oh, that is a little chilly.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
Yeah,
that.
it is pretty chilly.
Well, you brought us back some beers on a trip that you made, and we're gonna do. I think this might be history. This might be the first cross-country beer tasting that's ever happened.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Wikipedia is going to be all over this.
It is a Might Be Brews next show idea.
Yeah.
Write that one down. This is a Might Be Brews exclusive. So we're gonna taste Absolute Zero Flux. That's right, kids. Absolute Zero Flux. Did not curse. So, John, where is this from?
This is from Equilibrium Brewery. Last week, I was in Monticello, New York, which is about a half hour from Middletown, New York. And I went to Equilibrium Brewery. I heard a lot of really cool things about them, so I decided to check it out. And I went down, and it was a really, really interesting tap room. I've never seen anything like it, and I'll tell you why. I went up to the tap room to try a couple beers before I brought anything home, and they were pouring at the bar out of cans.
Wow.
I've never seen that before.
I can't say I've ever seen that either.
They had 2 beers on tap, but the tap was just a jockey box. So I don't know where the kegs were, but they just had a cooler up on top of the bar with two taps sticking out of it.
Did they have anything in the wall?
No, it was just nothing in the wall, nothing really all that professional. It was just like, hey, if you want these 4 beers, it's coming out of a can, and these 2 beers will come out of off a keg, I guess, but just right out of a jockey box. So it was really, really interesting, but I had a couple there, and everything was fantastic, and I brought some back, so I'm going to go ahead and crack mine here if you guys want to crack yours. But I thought this was such a neat idea that if I give you guys a beer and I take a beer with me to Reno, that we could do this cross-country, beer tasting together.
We're going to do it, and we actually have a second beer, so we're actually going to be the first and second occurrences of the cross-country beer share.
Probably ever in the history of the world.
And it might be the last. Who knows? We'll see how this goes. We might tear a hole in the time-space continuum by doing this.
We will see.
Are you ready, John?
I'm ready.
All right.
All
I got
right.
my beer poured.
Hey,
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers,
Cheers,
John.
guys.
We definitely got
Cheers,
a hazy, non-see-through IPA going on here. I haven't taken a sip yet. I'm just looking at the opaqueness. Definitely
is.
cannot see Brett through this beer.
Very hazy.
It's got
Very
a
hazy.
very strong hop aroma.
Yes, it does.
Dude, this
Tasty.
beer is so good.
That's a really good.
That's
It's
really
so
good.
juicy. It's full-bodied. It's got a great mouthfeel and tons of flavor. And I love the nose on it. Just getting all kinds of citrus and stuff happening. And it's just a really well-balanced. It's just a perfect, juicy New England IPA.
Yeah, it's definitely in that juicy realm. I may be getting a little bit of melon kind of flavor going through there.
Yep.
I'm picking up
So
quite
this
a
is
lot.
actually
Go ahead, John.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
No, it's all you.
So it's a double IPA. Looks like it's 8%.
I'm not
That's
picking
all I
up
had to
any
say.
of the 8%. It's very smooth, full bodied, like everyone kind of said. I'm getting a lot of the stone fruits. It's very drinkable and well masked.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
enjoy it. If we're going straight into ratings, I'm going 4.25. I'll get it kicked off there.
I would give it 4.25. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's like you said, John. It's full bodied. It's got a nice nose to it. It's good. It's not overbearing. It's really good. I like it.
I think I'm gonna have to give it a 4. I think it's a little what they call like green, where I think in a week it'll really balance itself out and come into its own.
John, what do you got?
I'm going to go 4.25. I love this thing. Brett, I kind of agree with you. I think it might be a little better in a week or two. We'll see, but I'm really enjoying it.
And I love the pun on the absolute zero flux. Got a
Flux, yeah.
it almost gives it an extra 0.5 just for a good name.
0.5.
Almost.
Absolutely.
Almost anything gives it.
You know what's weird about being out here and not with you guys is I crack this beer, but I have the whole beer to myself.
I was thinking about that. We're drinking a third of a beer over here, and you got a full beer over there.
Yeah, I almost cracked one before we started, and I was like, wait a second, I'm going to have to drink 2 full beers. I'm going to crack.
No, you
crack
poor
2. I'm
thing.
going to have to finish them.
I hope you drink them fast.
I know, right?
You
How
got-
many
Right.
beers are we drinking with you, John? Is it-
We're going to do 2. I got the Zero Flux, and I got the other one, the King Stew, that we'll get into.
Okay.
I want to talk to Brett quick. Brett, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Hey, look, you brewed a beer, or you started brewing a beer on Mother's Day. Tell me about what you're brewing.
All right. I did start brewing a beer on Mother's Day. I am brewing a graham cracker stout, or I should say attempting to grow a graham cracker stout beer. This is a first for me. I definitely brew a lot of stouts when I do homebrew, but I like to change it up every time. This one, I had been searching for a beer from Colorado, the Graham Cracker Stout Porter. I had a buddy, Jason Hinkle, bring it back for me, and I had it. It was terrific, and I kind of got the ball rolling in my head. Hey, I really want to brew this. So as that courage started growing, I did a little research. I found some other homebrew recipes, started kind of playing around with my own, ended up writing up something and got the courage on Mother's Day to put it all together. So right now it's in its primary fermentation, and I had a small taste of it when I stuck it in. It seems to be right where I need it to be. Later this week, I'm going to start adding some adjuncts to give it the graham cracker taste. And in about 3 more weeks, we'll find out what happened. Whether it be good or bad, that's to be decided, but we'll find out.
So
That's exciting, man. I'm looking forward to trying it.
Thank you.
What kind of adjuncts are you adding to get to a graham cracker type of flavor?
Sure. First, when I was brewing, I bought a whole box of graham crackers and had my wife crack them all up in a blender and stuck them in. That did not go as anticipated. When we put it in the beer, it all clumped together and it looked disgusting. So I thought, well, it's sugar, right? And just throw it in the fermenter, see what happens. next we have some vanilla beans and some cacao nibs that right now are soaking in vodka to help pull out all the good stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would
right.
never think of that.
Nice.
Yeah, it helps pull out some of the flavors a little bit better. And as I transfer it out of the primary fermenter, it'll go into a secondary with those two.
So now with vodka, I think you need to add some sort of Russian flavor to the name.
Russian Imperial Graham Cracker.
Ishnak,
We could do that
Imperial
too.
Graham Cracker Stout, something along those lines. Something with a lot of hard H's and X's.
V's.
B's.
Yeah.
Ishnak.
We'll name it that. That's perfect.
There's no vowels in that word whatsoever. I don't know
Don't
what I
need
just
'em.
came up with.
So you got the graham cracker, you got the chocolate. Are you going to do anything marshmallowy?
That's where the vanilla is in, the vanilla beans.
Okay.
So I did a lot of
'Cause that's
research.
almost a s'more.
Yes, that's. We'll see if it turns into a s'more.
Yeah.
We'll see. I've thought long and hard about adding marshmallow and did a lot of research online on if I should do that. I found if I just kind of stick in the ingredients that make up a marshmallow throughout the brewing process, it seemed to end in a cleaner, less chance of infecting the beer and turning it into a sour graham cracker s'more-ish type snout.
Sure.
So, yeah, infection is your enemy.
Absolutely.
That
Well, very
does
cool,
not
man.
sound.
That's exciting.
A sour graham cracker stout does not sound very good.
No, we're not going for that. And if that's what it turns out to be, no one will ever have tried it.
Come on, you gotta give us a little taste. We won't talk about it on a podcast or anything.
No, wouldn't know anybody.
So, John, why we still have you on the phone? We don't know, if this phone thing is going to last. I want to get you why we got you. What of the news stories that we have lined up do you want to get into so we don't miss any? Do you want to get into Dogfish?
Yeah, let's talk Dogfish. You want to take the lead on it?
Absolutely. So, if you haven't heard, Dogfish has been, and I don't know if the proper term is bought out, but to me, it seems like they've been bought out by Sam Adams Beer Company, Boston Beer Company, the actual name of the company. And Sam from Dogfish received quite a bit of shares in Boston Brewing, equaling, I don't have the article up yet. Was it $140 million worth? Was it higher than that?
I think it was a $300 million deal.
It was a lot. I think you're right, John.
Yeah, I think it's about $300 million, but I don't know how much of it was like cash. But I think a majority of it, like you said, Steve, was stock.
Existing Dogfish Head shareholders will receive $173 million in cash.
Yeah, if you had stock in Dogfish Head, you just got paid.
Yeah, I would think if you're a stock person, you are definitely happy that deal went through.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. Just by owning some of the stock, you get over $100 million.
I don't think each person does.
No,
I think
that's
it's split
total.
across everybody. But
Yeah, it's split across.
Even
all the
still,
shares.
that's pretty balling. Even if I just owned like one
Absolutely.
share, they'd send me a check for like a few bucks. I'd be
Heyday.
like,
Yeah.
word.
Heyday, yep.
I go buy some beer.
So what do you guys think as a consumer it's going to mean to us? I know it's going to mean different things to Dogfish and the brewery level and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at it from us as beer drinkers. Brett, what do you think will come from this that will trickle down to the beer drinker?
I'm kind of nervous about it. Dogfish always pushes the envelope with some unique brews, good or bad. They really try to get unique. I think when I think of Sam Adams, I don't think of unique. I think of a handful of beers. So I don't know that we're going to see as many of those fun brews that are one-offs, especially living semi-local to Dogfish.
Dogfish was always a big stop for us. I've said it before. My family, we vacation down in Ocean City, Maryland, and we'll go through Rehoboth on the way down there. Our normal stop would be at Dogfish. When we go down on Saturday, we'd go down there for lunch on the way down to the beach. Love the brew pub. The atmosphere is great. They just opened up a new building 2 years ago, I think. It's in the same spot, but they just revamped the whole building. The food is great. I loved having the one-off beers.
Is that in Rehoboth?
That's right in Rehoboth.
Wow.
As you're going down, I don't know if you go down Route 1 and then 1A takes you into Rehoboth.
Beach and Brew.
It's right down there. It's 3 blocks from the beach. It's right at the beach.
Yeah, I've never been there before.
But it
looks awesome.
It looks awesome. The food is always really good. They had this great corn and crab chowder. Might be soup, but
next episode
is might be soup. But we always had a great time down there. They always had stuff for the kids. It was just a really great stop off and to get quality beer.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because with the merger of the two companies coming together, I see Dogfish Head going into the low-cal IPAs, the Sea Quench, kind of leaning towards, the healthier style trends. And Boston Beer Company, I'm sure Sam Adams is a big part of it, but they also own Twisted Tea, Angry Orchard, and Truly sparkling ciders. So I kind of feel like the two brands are still leaning towards that same thing of, they're in the craft beer space, but they're also going after that new emerging market where more and more people are looking for health conscious alcohol choices.
Yeah, I think that Slightly Mighty is going to be a big hit for Dogfish Head.
Yeah, my wife, we got a 12-pack of it. My wife loves it.
It is good.
We had it on the show. It's not bad, but she's really into it.
I kind of feel that Sam Adams and Dogfish Head got to a point of size where they're too big to be your local kind of brewery, but they're not big enough to be your Budweiser. And they're in this kind of gray area, and merging might get them to that larger size, but it's not that around the corner brewery that you just go to on a Friday night to, have a pint or two.
We kind of talked about that on the last episode with the Weyerbacher thing. The bigger regional breweries are, for lack of a better term, they're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger breweries that aren't local are having a lot of trouble getting a foothold. It seems like it's either the really big guys or the really local small guys that are getting a lot of the beer attention around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the competition going on, is Sam Calagione one of the smartest people out there, because is he kind of selling or getting a payday at the right time where craft brewing is at a peak, but also there's so much competition, is he getting his payday at the perfect time?
I hope they keep giving us those small one-off things like we were talking about, even like the Worldwide Stouts or the Apollo Saint Laurents, the Bitches Brew, those smaller type brews that they do that I really enjoy.
I mean, you might get lucky because, like you said, we are semi-local to them, that maybe the one-off things are a local only kind of deal. Maybe that's not like a mass-produced nationwide seller. Maybe we still do get the one-off things that you guys enjoy. I mean, I guess only time will tell.
I've always heard too that Sam is apparently a very good businessman, and maybe he foresees some of this coming. I know that I was reading an article, they had got quite a large loan out to, maybe it was expand the brewery, maybe add that brew pub you were talking about. So in maybe foreseeing some of the hardships of this medium-sized regional brewery, he's taking the opportunity to get a payday to pay off some of that loan.
I wonder if Dogfish will come up into the Sam Adams production facility that's in Pennsylvania. There's actually a big production facility a little bit north of Allentown. Burningsville? I can't remember the actual name of it. But maybe maybe there's some capacity up there to help Dogfish get some more product out.
Do you see any Dogfish out in Nevada?
Yeah, I actually was out at a bar last night that had Dogfish Head. They had some stuff on tap and had some stuff in storage. I was surprised they had like an actual, what do you call it, like one of those neon signs. I was out with a buddy, Jeremy. I got to give him a shout out. I feel bad. I couldn't remember. We talked about him, and I told him I gave him a shout out on the last episode, and I definitely didn't. My buddy Jeremy, he's a guy in the industry with me, and we're always doing these trade shows, and me and him usually get together for a couple beers, and him and his wife actually listen to the podcast all the time. and she makes fun of me because of the way I say awesome, and I say awesome all the time.
You do say awesome a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
That's
she
awesome.
thinks it's hilarious and
That's awesome.
thinks I say it funny. And the first time I met her, she was like, "Can you say awesome for me?"
My wife
So-
makes fun of you for saying crack a beer. You've never opened a beer in your life. You've only cracked a beer.
That's awesome.
Oh,
It's awesome
a
that he
beer?
cracks a beer.
It's awesome.
Speaking
Yeah.
of
Awesome.
speaking of cracking an awesome beer, let's get into this to the other beer we got there. You got it ready out there?
Yeah, I got it. The King Sue.
The second ever cross country beer tasting
happening now.
happening right now.
Just a heads up, I drank that entire 16 ounce of Absolute Zero Flux.
Good for you.
I just finished it, and now I'm ready for the King Sue.
Now you're nice
Here we
and
go.
loose.
I'm gonna try to crack this beer into my mic. Let's see if you guys can hear it.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. That was an
Did you guys
awesome
get it?
crack.
All right.
It was either you cracking a beer or crumpling up a piece of paper. We couldn't quite tell. They were pretty
Over
similar.
This mic. I'm literally using like a Samsung headphone microphone combination that came with a cell phone.
So
we're not doing anything fancy here.
So I was a little surprised when you told us you were bringing these back because Topping Goliath is from
Iowa,
but you got
Iowa,
these
right.
in New York, right?
Yeah, and I believe they just started distribution in Jersey. I don't think it's in Pennsylvania yet. And what I think what I heard with Toppling Goliath is, and I may be wrong. I'm just saying that this is, I think what I heard, for certain places to get King Sue, they had to buy a shit ton of other Toppling Goliath to get this in stock.
That seems
I don't
to
know
be
if that's the deal across all distributors, but that's something you hear kind of frequently with the really popular beers. So when I saw it, I haven't had it. And Pseudo Sue is one of my favorite pale ales. It's just, if it's fresh, it's such a solid beer, and I'll get it every time I see it. But I was really excited to see King Sue.
This shit is gross.
Oh,
Who said that?
You know who said that.
you do know who said that.
It's a sink it.
This is a sink it for me. I would not drink this again.
Why don't you start the rating?
I would rate this like what? I gave the last one a 4.25, right?
4.
Did I give it?
I think 4.25.
Oh, no, you did give 4.25. Brett gave it a 4.
4.25. So for the same style of beer as the last one that we did, the Absolute Zero Flux, this one is way heavier to me. It has a almost stinging aftertaste of like I feel like straight alcohol. I'm not a fan of this one at all. It's just too rugged. I would rate this one. I'm giving it a 3.
So now
Taylor,
Yeah, that was me.
you disgust me.
Yo, guess what? This is going to be the shortest episode of Might Be Brews ever, John. You know why? Because you're not here. It's gonna be the shortest episode
I know,
of Might Be
right?
Brews ever.
he's playing the outro music right now.
Yeah. This shit is over.
So now, as I'm trying to think of what's the differences in taste between these two brews. I'm tasting a little bit more of an earthy, grassy kind of flavor to this one. I am tasting a little bit more alcohol to this one than the Zero Flux.
It's not just me on that. Like I feel like the back end of it is very just raw alcohol.
It's definitely more alcohol than the first one.
What's the
I'm looking for the ABV and I can't find it.
because
Yeah, I can't find it on the can.
because
I'm looking myself.
the absolute Zero Flux is 8%. I feel like
It's not on the can.
We'll have to check the
I'm going to Google it.
Untapped.
That's where I'm at. Untapped. I'm almost there.
Your
feel like
Bible.
I feel like the dinosaur one is way crazier.
See now, King Sue. It's saying it's 7.8.
Lighter.
It's unbelievable.
But see now, the IBUs on this are listed at 100. Are the IBUs on the Zero Flux?
Well,
Does
Zero
not look
Flux
like it.
is an amazing beer, but it's a juicy New England IPA. So
Right.
the hop profile, the way it's brewed, that thing is made to be juicy and to not have a high ABV, or at least hide that. That's why I think I like King Sue so much, because I feel like it's a blend between like a really hoppy double IPA or a West Coast IPA and it almost to me feels like it's mixed with a New England IPA, where you get that haziness, a little bit of juiciness, but the hop profile probably brings out instead of all citrus and all juiciness, you're getting more of that earthy grassiness kind of coming through versus, and I kind of appreciate that. I like that. I like hoppy IPAs, and I feel like this is a good marriage between the two.
Whenever I take a sip of this beer, my face automatically goes to the stank face. Like, just, ugh.
As we were coming over here, Brett and I were talking, when was the last time we've had a sink it? We haven't had a sink it in
We haven't
quite
had a
some
sink it in a
time.
while. And this isn't even supposed to be drink it or sing it, but this is definitely a sink it. For me, personally.
So I like that. I like that we're going to try and find Taylor's edge again.
This is gross, John. This beer is gross.
Taylor, you're outrageous.
I'm giving this beer a 4.25 as well. Where I appreciate the juiciness of the first one, I also appreciate that this has some bitterness and it has some, I'll call it West Coast similarities that blend well with the haziness of the King Sue. But I still really like it. I still like a little bit of bitterness in my beers.
I think a small piece of me died a little when I heard Taylor give it a 3.
Right?
But so this beer had been a beer that I had chased for a little while, way back when, and it's one of my favorite IPAs. I am going to give it probably about a 4 or 5. I think some of the reason that we like this beer, or like the what is it, Absolute Zero Flux, you bought that at the brewery, so it was 100% fresh. This beer
Absolutely.
traveled halfway across the country, and then you bought it, and we got it. So that maybe plays a factor. But it is also.
I don't know if you looked at the bottom yet, but the package date is March 28th when it was canned, the King Sue.
So a month and a half. That's probably the end of a shelf life for an IPA.
Maybe that's why it's so gross.
Taylor, you're outrageous
A lot
right
of
now.
hate.
I'm back.
Come on,
I hate
Taylor.
beers again. I'm back.
He thinks you brewed this, John.
No, it's just not my favorite. We've had so many different kinds of beers on this show since we started, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the worst one I've had, because it's not. But it definitely brought back that feeling of being kind of a newbie to this. This is one that I would buy because the can looks so cool, but I'd be very disappointed in it when I got it home. That's not to say that it wouldn't grow on me, but just first impressions, it's a 3 for me.
I remember hearing some of your earlier podcasts, and your I don't like it beers were like 1s. So
Yeah, I try not to be as harsh anymore because I can appreciate the flavoring of it. To me, what bothers me with this one the most is the back end. The actual taste of it isn't terrible. It's just it's the back end of it is just really rugged for me. And if it was fresh, maybe it'd be better, like you said.
And I think it's that bitterness. I think it's the bitterness that's getting them. We've given them too many juicy New England styles. We need to bring them back some old school.
a traditional IPA.
Well, we just got to hit him bitterness heavy maybe next time.
Victory.
Victory.
It is a little bit rugged when you just drink something like that Absolute Zero.
Yeah.
Well, you've had a whole
So there's
can of
definitely
this.
a contrast
So-
there.
I'm trying to think of what's some really good bitter beers that will when you get back, John, we'll have to have a little brainstorming session and see what kind of super bitter beers we can bring up next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, can I talk a little bit about other stuff real quick before I get off the line?
You got one story.
One story. 1 minute. This is
Give me
the
two.
shortest episode in history of Might Be Brews. Now,
I
story.
need like an extra half hour just to go over what I've done since I've been here in Reno.
You're going to have to do it on the next show, boss.
All right, real quick. So I went out with my buddy Jeremy last night. We went to a place called Mellow Fellow, and the guy made fun of me. He's like, "That sounds like a gay bar," but it wasn't. But it was an awesome little beer bar. They had KBS on tap. They had Velvet Merlin. They had Omnipolo sours. They had a bunch of Firestone Walker stuff. It was a really cool place. But probably like I didn't really get a lot of the stuff that I can get, but they had a brewery called Abel Baker, I think it's called, and I had a double dry hopped Waddle, which was a pale ale. Yeah, from Abel Baker Brewing. It's supposed to be like a session IPA or a pale ale, but it was like really hoppy, like a West Coast IPA, but a fantastic beer. And I really, really enjoyed it. I had 2 of them because I haven't had like, it's weird. It's like hoppy, but it's also light and crisp at the same time.
What was the
And
ABV?
it was just fantastic. I'm looking it up. Oh, 4.5%, it says. I think that's low. I don't think that's right. I think it was
Session?
5.5. Yeah, I think it said 5.5 at when I was actually there on the menu, but I just looked it up on Untapped and it came up at 4.5%. And it says 27 IBU, and I don't even think that can be right because it was very bitter and hoppy.
Sometimes
I
those
don't
27s can be hidden
Through the sweetness.
Yeah.
through the
Absolutely.
sweetness. Who knows?
Well, John, enjoy.
Also, another thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, go. You go ahead. One more thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hang up on you
Did you?
because I can
Did
do
you guys
that.
see? Yeah, I know you can, but you're not going to. Did you guys see on Amazon? There's a new documentary called "Pour It in PA." Have any of you guys seen that yet?
That's news to me.
I saw the thumbnail for it. I have not watched it yet though. Did you watch it?
I did watch it. And I'll tell you, when I watched it, I've never been more proud to be like into Pennsylvania craft beer.
Wow.
It was a very well done piece. There's a lot of stuff about like the OGs, like Victory and, Stouts and Yingling and all these like really old OGs in brewing and in beer in Pennsylvania. And it was just really neat to hear their stories and kind of hear their attitude about things. And I think it was Bill from Victory had a lot to say that really I guess resonated with me where, to him, as much as craft beer has exploded, he's like, I don't see it as like a bubble that's going to burst. I see it as like it's really important to be at like a big part of your community, which I think is why they do so much for Downingtown as opposed to like, well, they do so much with like sponsoring events and sponsoring, the Fall Fest and all these things that go on in Downingtown, all these events. They're such a big part of the town. But he also said like he doesn't see it as like a craft bubble that's going to burst. There's so many people out there and so many people that are drinking alcohol that you just need to educate them and get them excited to drink craft beer. And it kind of changed my mind about how I felt where, the craft beer bubble is something that's going to burst and it's going to be shitty and all these people and breweries are going to have problems because there's too much competition. But there's so many people out there. If we all just do our job of educating people and letting them know what's out there and letting them try things and be a good bartender to educate somebody and tell them about all the beers, like people can get excited about it and it can be a thriving business for everybody. So, I don't know. I just found it like really, really cool and it's on Amazon. So I think I would imagine most people have Amazon Prime. So I think everybody should try to look for it. It's called Pour It in PA and it's on Amazon. And I thought it was awesome.
Great, John. Great job tonight. This is about to hang
Are you
up.
really cutting me off like you're getting me like the walk-off music? Like,
Yeah.
You're getting
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I might do that.
What was the show that used to have the guy
I'm
with
on
the hook?
like my last 5 ounces of my second pounder. Plus, before I got on the show, I had an old-fashioned, which is pretty much like straight bourbon, at the bar before I came back to my room to do the show. So I'm doing pretty good today.
Well, that's great. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your trip out there. And I personally will see you on Saturday. Probably.
Yeah.
Saturday night. Or
Hear the rest
Sunday.
of the stories.
Yeah. So, because we got family coming in town this weekend, so we'll be seeing each other.
Oh, is Nathan coming down?
No, I don't think so.
Because
I was just about to ask that, Steve. You're like part of the family.
Because the other half in Rochester is open, so when he comes down, he needs to be bringing some other half down with him.
Yeah, he's slacking on that.
But
He needs
John,
to make sure he brings down good stuff.
John, we're gonna go on break. And when we come back, you're not going to be with us because, like I said, this is going to be the shortest episode of Might Be Brews ever. We're ending this at like 59 minutes and 59 seconds, straight up.
What's happening?
Buster.
No games are being played
Buster.
tonight. But
Hey,
I will say this real
argue
quick.
about Game of Thrones for a few minutes.
No, we can't.
I'm just kidding.
Because I'll tell you what. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
I do.
You do? Okay. Because I know Steve does not.
I do not.
I've been shitting on people all week, and I've just not shitting on people, just arguing with people about why they don't like it. And I know, John, you've been let down, and we'll argue about it this weekend because I think that's stupid.
Look, I just think that Cersei should have got it. That's all.
All right, I'm
She
putting it.
should have got it in the worst way.
I'm putting an end to this.
You guys are going to hang up on
It
me.
stops now.
We're going to hang up on you, John. Hey, John, thanks so much for being with us.
Dude, I miss you guys. I'm sorry I can't be there, but Steve is incredible. I know he's going to kill it. Brett, I can't wait to hang out. I think we're going to get together in a couple weeks and do a little share amongst friends. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, John, be good. We'll talk to you, and we'll be back after this.
Have a good trip.
Bye, John.
Later, guys.
Loud, brash, controversial, and now completely uncensored. Foundation Radio is joining the Might Be News Network. Foundation Radio, exclusively on the Might Be News Network podcast. Just search Might Be News Network to listen and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and everywhere podcasts are found. New episodes every other Thursday.
Welcome back to Might Be Brews. I'm Taylor Cooper. With me is Steve.
Yo, 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 yo.
And Brett. What's up, Brett?
Hey.
John is no longer with us. He's, like we said, out in Reno. It's the shortest episode ever.
He's getting drunk and playing slot machines.
Old fashions.
Old fashions.
Speaking of short episodes, this is going to be the last non-hour and a half episode that we do here.
Nice.
We are the Patreon is done. The Patreon page is done. We are going to start rolling that stuff out starting next week. So stay tuned. Have some pretty big announcements as far as the Patreon goes on Monday on Might Be News. We're, like I said, going to be starting to do 90-minute episodes. We want people to enjoy our shows and enjoy more of our shows. They're going to be Patreon exclusives. We have 3 tiers. Again, stay tuned. Monday, going to have a whole bunch of new information. But those 90-minute episodes are going to include this show. I mean, I know John's going to want to sit here and do 90
2.5
minutes.
hours.
2.5 hour episodes for sure.
Game of Thrones style.
Yeah. But I think that it'll be really nice. We're gonna the 90 minutes are for the people on our Patreon. The people though that don't want to be on Patreon, they're still gonna get their normal hour episodes. Not to worry. Just the people on Patreon gonna get some bonus material. Not to mention some incentives and monthly giveaways.
Some swag.
All kinds of shit. It's coming. It's coming in a big way. MBNnetwork.com. Check it out and stay tuned because we got some big announcements coming starting next week. So.
And definitely check out all the shows, especially this past week's episode, because yours truly did a lot of them.
Yeah, you did, Steve, and thank you very much for stepping in for me this week on producing and basically hosting duty. I mean, you hosted Might Be News.
I definitely hosted Might Be News.
Yeah, you did.
Absolutely.
You crushed the intro.
They were all giving me crap about the intro.
What,
Nobody
beforehand?
can do the intro.
Oh,
Nobody
beforehand?
I said, I got it.
And you did. You nailed it. You hit the post.
Smacked it.
Because there's a rhythm to it. There's a strategic pause in the intro for Might Be News. And if you don't hit it, most people just run right over.
They go
it.
too fast.
Yeah, they just
You go
run
too
right over it
fast.
because they're nervous.
Mhm.
But that pause is for pros, and you executed that perfectly.
I tried.
So I was on the road, and I was anxiously awaiting your text saying that it was done and uploaded, for private release, basically. And so I could listen to it, and that was the first thing. I was dying laughing just because I thought it was so fantastic that you nailed that shit, and especially it was like only your second time on that specific show.
It was a lot of fun, and I like that we, like you said, we got to hit a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I hit a
you
little
did.
sports, I hit a little brews, we hit a little relatable
Yep.
with the Mother's Day talk, so we hit a little bit of everything on news and hanging out with the ladies on Relatable Radio. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, you guys had a lot of fun. I could tell.
It was
And-
a fun episode.
That's great. That's great. I could tell though on both shows that you were like the cool uncle, and that like everybody just felt so comfortable like not doing their jobs. So next week I'm bringing everybody in. It's going to be reckless. It's going to be crazy.
The whip is getting
I
cracked.
gotta crack that shit. Gotta crack it. So speaking of cracking, we got more beer.
We do. We cracked open another beer,
So awesome.
and it's probably going to be awesome.
It's gonna be great.
So what we got cracked is a Bell's Expedition Stout. This is a 2017.
It is.
Brett and I were talking about this beer. I really love this beer. It's a big favorite of mine. I always say it needs about a year. And after a year, the alcohol really fades away, and you get really nice roasty chocolate notes and just that really pure stout flavor.
Wow. You definitely do. This is a flavorful beer. I don't know really what's going on in it, but there's a lot going on in it.
To me, I definitely get chocolate. That's the first note that I get. I get a little bit of bitterness in this stout. It's not
Yeah.
a sweet pastry stout like a lot of the ones that have been coming out recently. There is some bitterness to it, some darkness to it, I'll call it.
Definitely.
I'm getting that roasty, toasty malt flavor. The alcohol is gone, just like you said. Even though it is much higher than that King Sue. I think it's
It tastes
10.
like it. It tastes like it to me.
But it's thick. It coats your bones. It's just an all around good stout.
So as we drink this, the next one that we're going to do after this is going to be the Black Note Stout, which is basically the same beer, but it's aged in bourbon barrels.
Oh.
So we can kind of compare the two back and forth a little bit.
Both by Bell's, is it?
Both by Bell's, yes, out of Michigan.
Yeah.
Beer by Bell's.
Coming at ya.
Yeah, this is good. What I don't know what to rate it. You guys rate it first. Give me a clue.
All right. I think after having, it's been a while since I've had this beer. I'm going to give it a 4.25. Right around there. It's like I said, it's got a great roasty, toasty flavor. I like that the alcohol's masked. And it's got a nice thick mouthfeel. It's starting to get a little too warm in the season for a beer like this, but on a nice cool day, this definitely hits the spot.
It is getting a little bit out of stout season. I almost said that correctly,
Almost.
but it's still hitting a good note for me. I'm going to give it a straight 4. Love the chocolateness of it, the mouthfeel, and I like the little bit of bitterness in my stout.
It's definitely bitter. It's very, very bitter. I have had better stouts on this show, and I think that I'm kind of drifting towards these dessert stouts that some people have brought over.
The pastry stouts.
Yeah, like the brownie ones and stuff like that. I think that they're absolutely delicious. So maybe that has kind of influenced my lack of appreciation necessarily for the different direction that this beer is taking. I'm still going to give it a 3.75 though. I would give it a 3.75. Like, I would drink this again. I would give it a chance to kind of grow on me because it is good. It's just like, I don't know if the overall flavor palette is something that I would necessarily gravitate to on a regular basis.
I wonder if it was like an inch or two of snow on the ground and we were watching an Eagles game,
I might
if it
feel
would
different.
make a difference.
Yeah, I might feel different.
I think you would. I think I would too.
Maybe just like, it was a crazy day today. Maybe that, kind of affects that too. Maybe like if I was just like you said, kind of in a relaxed situation, kind of just chilling out, watching a football game. Yeah, I might feel different about this.
Talking on a podcast isn't relaxing.
This would probably be a good cigar beer too.
Yeah,
I bet
yeah.
a cigar would
Yeah.
really hit the spot with
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
Do you know? Is this kind of one of the like original heavy stouts?
I would think it's got to be one of, because
Kinda
it's
smell
been
it.
around for
Bell's has been a while.
Bell's is an OG, and the Expedition Stout. My neighbors and I definitely had a night with Expedition Stout, and it was, with the alcohol content, it was a little bit of a crazy night because
Got away from you.
2 or 3 of these will catch up with you real quick.
It looks and smells like soy sauce.
I think that's a thing that's kind of known for some Russian Imperial stouts. I know there's a few out there that I've read in many forums that have a soy sauce smell or aftertaste.
Really? Okay.
It's a thing, so that's
Yeah.
funny that you bring that up.
I hear a lot of people say that about Dark Lord.
Yep, that's
the
the one I was
that I
thinking.
always think of when I hear people
Soy
talk
sauce.
about soy sauce.
It doesn't taste like soy sauce. I don't think I would put this on like
Some sushi?
sesame chicken or anything.
Oh, I might.
Maybe.
A little pork fried rice.
A
Dude, we
glaze?
should try that. We should
Yeah.
try that next episode.
Well, I do want to do a cooking of food episode
Oh,
with
dude.
beer.
We why not? We should definitely.
I just got to figure out it's one thing to watch people make food on TV, but it's another thing to just listen about food.
Well, stay tuned because we're going to start adding cameras to things here in the near future.
Maybe
so.
the Patreons will be able to see us eating some pork fried rice with some Expedition Stout poured over it.
I would say that would be a pretty good possibility.
Nice.
Sign up now.
Get on it.
Patreon, I'm telling you, is going to be huge. Stay tuned next week. Huge.
Good times.
Huge.
So we got a couple small beer stories to hit while we're still here. So we talked about the Wawa beer, the Wawa Coffee Porter. It looks like the other Pennsylvania convenience store, Sheetz, they're coming out with a coffee IPA. It is called, went past it here, Project Coffee Hops is a 5.4% coffee bean IPA brewed with Sheetz Brothers Sumatra coffee beans. Does that sound like something you guys would want to get into?
I'll be honest, coffee IPAs are a hit or miss for me. You can get one that's great, or you can get one that's just way too coffee front loaded, and you might as well just drink some coffee. I thought the Wawa Stout, I believe, like they crushed it. That thing was delicious. There was just enough of it to be around that, but it still had like a hype. I kind of hope that's how this Sheetz beer is, but coffee IPAs, I'm on the fence on.
I am not a coffee IPA guy. I will just go straight out there and say I don't remember one that I've had that I've liked.
Is it the coffee or is it? combo?
I will say that I'm not a coffee drinker. I do enjoy coffee and the stouts. I feel like that's a much better marriage than coffee fighting with hops.
Yeah, they don't blend all that well unless there's a heavy stout behind it.
It's definitely, and I don't know if it's the roastiness of the malt that the coffee goes with better for me than the different malt bill of an IPA, or if it's the hops. But to me, there's something in a coffee IPA that fights that I don't enjoy.
I always think of how hops depreciate in a beer just like coffee. They're both quick, and they both don't leave the best taste if they mellow out quickly. And there's not a lot of backbone in an IPA to catch that off flavor.
I don't know. I've never had a coffee IPA, right? We've never had one of those on our show.
We have not had one on the show.
Okay, because I know we've definitely had coffee stouts, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And I enjoy them so far. I don't remember what I've rated them, but if I remember correctly, I feel like I like them. I don't know if I'd be into a coffee IPA, but I would obviously try it, I suppose.
Now I'm going to ask this question, and I'm probably, definitely on one side of this: Sheetz or Wawa.
Go ahead.
I'm Wawa, straight Wawa.
I grew up in a town that had a Sheetz and a Wawa. I was
Very
one of the-
rare.
Yeah, it was weird. And I used to go to the Sheets. So I'm actually, Wawa's great, but Sheets has more condiments, which makes it better to me.
Okay. Sheets has the fryer game.
They do.
They have the fryer game.
That they do. But Wawa has, their overall hoagie is better. Or sub, hero, whatever you want to call it.
We're going hoagie. We're going straight hoagie. Taylor, you're the tiebreaker. Sheets or Wawa?
All right, so it's tough for me because I go to Wawa all the time. There's not a Sheets necessarily right down the street from me here. So I would say Wawa. However, one time, actually more than one time, I went to a Sheets and I ordered a chicken parm sandwich with mozzarella sticks on the sandwich.
The fryer game, just like I was talking about.
And you can't get that at Wawa, no matter how hard you try. I mean, you can buy additional mozzarella sticks to put on whatever you want to put on, but I feel like Sheets has way more variety as far as like their food goes. I don't know if it's like necessarily better, but I guess more is better. So I'm going to go Sheets.
Wow.
Oh, and an upset.
Did you see that?
I did not see that coming. I gotta be honest.
I'm going to go Sheets.
There's a spot in Coatesville called Triple Fresh. Have you ever heard of Triple Fresh?
Yep.
They do the chicken parm with the mozz sticks on there.
Yeah, it was slamming.
Very good.
Slamming.
That
Very
sounds
good.
like a great hangover cure.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh yeah. They have a lot of good stuff there. But like I said, I go to Wawa all the time.
So while we were talking about Sheets and Wawa, we opened up our final beer for the evening. So we've got the Bell's Black Note Stout, the 2017 version. So this is aged in bourbon barrels.
It smells like soy sauce aged in bourbon barrels, which would probably be really good.
That's not a bad
That's
idea.
good because it's, I believe, the same beer just aged in bourbon barrels.
Consistency.
I really like this beer. I even fresh. I've had this beer fresh, and while it's definitely hotter than it is now, I even like this beer fresh.
I like this beer a lot. That's really good.
The word that comes to my mind is smooth. Time has made this smooth all around. I'm getting chocolate notes. I'm picking up a little bit of that bourbon as I drink it. A little bit of the bitterness. No soy sauce, but just it's a smooth, well-rounded beer. If I had to give it a rating, I'm giving this a 4.75. This is fantastic.
I was going to go 4.5. It's a really, really nice stout, and it's not readily available, but when it comes out, you can definitely find it. You don't have to be there the second the beer distributor opens to be able to find it.
Do you think that fresher this would be hotter as far as the alcohol?
It absolutely is. I don't think I know. It's definitely hotter when it's fresh.
So when it's fresh, would you change your rating or would it be the same?
Depends on my mood.
That's absolutely true. I'd probably change it a little bit, but I know now to let it sit for a year.
Okay.
So I probably wouldn't have another one fresh.
In this fashion, I would give this a 4.5. I think that the aged in whiskey barrels, whatever, there's something about this specific beer in comparison to the last one that ties all those flavors together or almost organizes them. Like when I had the first one here, the regular one, I was almost confused. Like I couldn't figure out what I was tasting. This one, I can definitely differentiate some things, and I feel like it's just a way better, mellow, smooth taste, like you said, Brett. 4.5, definitely would drink this on pretty much on the regular. It's good.
John, what do you give? Oh, no, sorry, John. You give this beer a nothing because you're not drinking it.
I feel like John would love this beer.
John would be. It might be a little thin on the mouthfeel for John. Just a little bit. It's not a thick mouthfeel kind of stout.
If you had to guess, what would John give this beer?
4.25.
Wow.
He is probably
quick.
drinking straight bourbon right now with his old fashions.
Yeah. He's drinking straight bourbon with like 2 bitters in it.
And a little bit of sugar water.
And a little bit of sugar water. Is that what an old fashioned is? I don't really know.
What is it? Orange. I think a little bit
orange peel.
for a twist.
He probably paid like $20 for a guy to light an orange on fire above the drink.
It's all about the presentation.
It is all about the presentation. So
I like
yeah,
that beer a lot. It's really good.
Awesome.
It's really good.
Awesome.
So
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
So awesome.
Crack it.
I do that all the time too. I say awesome all the time. It annoys the shit out of me.
So another local story we got going on as we come into the summer months. We got Memorial Day coming up. Levante is reopening a beer garden with at Highland Orchards. Highland Orchards for Brett and I is definitely right down the street. So it'll be cool to find a place to hang out during the summer. A little beer garden vibe to it. Were you ever at the Levante stables, Brett?
I was. I was there 2 or 3 times out in, I believe, Chester Springs. It's an awesome atmosphere. You go out there in the evening. It might be getting a little chilly, but it's not too cold to be out. You're drinking great beer from Levante always, whether it be their IPAs, some of their other like ciders or stouts even. They usually have those out, but it's something neat to be outside of a brewery like setting, something maybe just a little more less something you're not used to, and drinking some really good beer. So I'm looking forward to being out there and seeing what they have to offer.
I wonder if they're going to somehow incorporate the fantastic apple cider donuts that Levante or that the Highland does.
That's what I was thinking. I hope so badly that they have some kind of apple cider donut, IPA, stout. I don't care, but I'm buying it.
They got to do something.
Put it on Mercury.
Oh, there you go. That's not a bad idea right there. Levante, I know you're listening. You guys listen. We want credit.
On Mercury.
The Might Be Brews collab. Highland combination.
Wow.
Think they'll do it.
Make it a sweet stout for Taylor.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. I'd be all about that.
That'd be awesome.
I'd be all about that.
Yeah, the wife and kids, and they say the Chester Springs thing that I never got to was very family friendly. You could bring all the family out and just have a nice spot to hang out on a summer night and not be all pressured. You can just be outside and enjoy the weather, have a couple beers, and enjoy the company with your family.
I plan on going up there. I plan on going up to Highland Orchards, checking this out this summer. I think it's gonna be great.
What was great is it was always full, but it was never too full. And anyone that's been to a brewery knows that there are times where it's too full. You can't even hear yourself think. Being out in the open, you never got that. I can't hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was just a great, like you said, family friendly, but fun time.
So another big event going on this weekend, Station Tap Room and Bottle Room are having their anniversary party down in Downingtown. The brew list just came out. Lots of good looking beers on there. 99% positive. You can't ever be positive when you have a wife and kids. That we're going to make an appearance there on Saturday afternoon. We're going to bring the dog down and hang out in the beer garden, have a few, and wish those guys a happy anniversary.
I'm going to have to wish them a happy anniversary on here. I wish I could make it, but I have a Phillies game date with the whole family. We had this scheduled for a little while now, so it's something we like to do. Go down to the ballpark and watch, hopefully, Harper hit a homer.
What time is what time's game time?
Game starts at 4, but we got a tailgate.
You got a tailgate.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole experience.
It's absolutely is.
Yep.
What's sports without tailgating?
I don't know. It's nothing.
Not sports.
I don't think that it exists.
Yeah.
If you're not tailgating, you might as well just watch it at home.
That's what makes the game. So That's what we have going on. I saw the draft list, and I am sad I'm not going to make it, but they put on like awesome events. So they're going to crush it. And to all the listeners out there, you want to go see Steve, get some FaceTime.
I don't know if they want to get FaceTime.
They want FaceTime.
I got the face for radio, but I will gladly host. I will gladly have a beer with any of our listeners that come out, and I think it's going to be a good time. I believe CJ from Might Be Sports is going to make an appearance.
Yep.
So it should be a good time. Hopefully we can line up and be there at the same time.
Shout out to CJ, the spiritual guru and technical advisor to the Might Be News Network, mostly to me. But I love that guy. He does so much for this thing. It's crazy. We're almost out of time because I'm not going to lie to John. We're gonna end this.
We're ending it.
But seriously, Steve, fantastic job this week. This ends another fantastic week. at the Might Be News Network. I'm super proud of everybody involved in this network. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check out the new episode 0 of Foundation Radio. The next step for these guys is their debut uncensored episode 2 weeks from yesterday, I guess. So full schedule coming up next week as well. New Novak and Franz we got coming up, all kinds of stuff. Just stay tuned. Patreon information coming on Monday at Might Be News, mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier for you to find your new favorite podcast. Go on there, click the show that you want to listen to at the top, and pick the platform that you want to listen to it on, or you could just ask Alexa. Ask Alexa to play the Might Be News Network and Might Be News Network podcast, excuse me, and it'll play it. It's pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. Brett, thanks so much for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Can't wait till next time.
Great to see you again, Brett.
We'll have you on. We'll definitely have you on again.
And shout out to John out there in Reno. Safe travels and stuff. I'll see you this weekend, and we'll argue about Game of Thrones.
Can't wait to not talk about Game of Thrones with you guys. I really can't wait.
It's almost over. It's almost over. By the time I see you again, Steve, it'll be over.
It will be.
Yeah.
So while Memorial Day is coming up, everybody have a great Memorial Day. Keep checking out Might Be Brews. Hit us up on all the social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Let us know if you're listening, and let us know if you love us. Let us know if you hate us. Go ahead. I'd appreciate some hate email. That's one of the things I'd like to get more of on the internet that I haven't gotten.
I dare you. I dare you to
Careful
send
what
hate.
you wish for.
I want it. Bring it. Bring some heat. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you again in a couple weeks.